everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I thought that I would film a day in the life as a senior PWP. Sorry, please bear with me, I am currently making my breakfast whilst I introduce this vlog because I do start work in about half an hour, so I just want to make sure I've got time to do everything. So in case you didn't know, PWP stands for Psychological Wellbeing Practitioner. And you tend to find that people will start off as a trainee PWP or an apprentice PWP, then they'll go on to being a qualified PWP, and then in some places you have an advanced PWP, and then you have my role, which is the senior PWP. So I have been a senior for about 2.5 months. So really not very long at all. I'm still very fresh being a senior PWP. But I thought that we could just do a day in the life video so that you can kind of see some of the duties that I do. Maybe if you're considering being a senior yourself in the future, then this might be a really good way of just seeing some of the duties that you could expect. But obviously each service is different as well, so my experience as a senior will be different to somebody else's. It really does depend on the service that you are in. So I hope that you find this video helpful. So to start off my day, I am making my breakfast and a coffee. So I have, oh, try not to spill it. I have my porridge there, and what I've been doing is I've been adding in some cinnamon sugar dusting to my porridge, which is so unbelievably nice. And then next I've just made an espresso coffee. You're actually balanced on the coffee machine, so I did just have to turn the camera off, otherwise it would have made an awful noise for you. I just put my sugar in and a little bit of milk. And yeah, this is basically what I do every morning before work, is just do my breakfast and a nice frothy coffee. Now I work completely from home, so my job is completely remote, and I know that some services require you to go into the office or hybrid roles. Mine is completely work from home, so I'm gonna show you how I spend my day working from home and also my office setup as well, and how I kind of stay motivated whilst I'm at home. Oh, that's nice. Right, I'm gonna have my breakfast, gonna drink my coffee, and then I'll catch up with you shortly when I start work. So I'm currently sat on the floor to film this, so I do apologise for the very odd angle, but I am in my home office. So one of the most important parts for me in terms of working from home is to have a dedicated workspace. Now don't get me wrong, sometimes, depending on what I'm doing, sometimes I do work from the couch, and that's fine. It's fine every so often to have an hour or two where you just want to do your really mundane admin tasks and just sit on the couch and do it. That's absolutely fine. I don't see any harm in doing that if you work from home. It's a privilege of working from home to be able to do things like that. However, I do find that if you are working from home, you must have a dedicated space to work that you are going to feel motivated. Now that could be the kitchen table. It could be a coffee table. I find for me, it just needs to be a space that I can sit up straight. When my posture's quite good, like sometimes I'll even just sit on the floor and just work from the coffee table. So that's quite a useful way of doing it as well. So I'm not like slouched over on the couch, I haven't got my feet out in front of me. Like I can sit upright and I can type away at my laptop. And I do find that that's a really good alternative as well. However, I do have a dedicated office. So this used to be a guest bedroom and it is now my dedicated office. We're quite lucky in the sense that firstly we have another guest bedroom, so we don't really need both of them at this point in time. We don't need the 2 extra bedrooms. So we still have a guest bedroom, but we just felt like it was worth turning this room into my office because I do work from home full time. So it's going to be a really good use of space. I'm going to spend every single day in here pretty much. And I love as well that this is my space. Like, this is where I have most of the things, well, not most of the things that, that mean a lot to me, but things that would clutter up the house that my husband doesn't want on display elsewhere. I've got all sorts of stuff in here, and it's just my special space. I also have my tortoise behind me, so he's my little office pet. And because this room is completely tortoise proof, I will sometimes just let him out of his vivarium and he can just wander around the floor whilst I'm working, and he causes no harm at all, and he's not distracting, so I can still have meetings whilst I've got my tortoise wandering around. So yeah, I'm really fortunate to have this space. So I thought that I would choose today to film because today is probably the most accurate depiction of what my responsibilities are like as a senior PWP. Don't get me wrong, every day is different. However, today has the most varied amount of stuff, and I think today gives a good depiction of what it is that I actually do. So my morning is mostly clinical. So by that I mean I have 2 appointments, so from 9 until 12 I have 2 appointments in that time, both for about 50 minutes each. So my morning is basically clinical, and then this afternoon I have like my more admin-y and data audit tasks, which I will update you with as we progress with those. So let's get cracking because I'm about to start work in 5 minutes. So to start the day off, the first thing I'm going to do is have a supervision session with a PWP. Part of my role as a senior means that I'm also supervisor trained, so I deliver supervision to lots of PWPs. So that is my 9 o'clock meeting for today, and then after that I have 2 clients, and that's basically going to take me up till lunchtime. So I'm not really too sure how much of it I can document, but that's what I'm going to do this morning. So I've had my supervision with the PWP, all was well, got some outstanding tasks completed, which is good. Now I'm obviously not going to film any of my client appointments. However, I just wanted to kind of update you. So I'm about to call them in about, 9 minutes is when the appointment starts. So I'm just getting my notes ready really. So I've got my treatment template, just helps to, just to document and keep up to date with what I'm doing and what the content of the session is going to be today. So got that ready on one screen. On my second screen I've got the patient details. I'm obviously not going to show that at all. And yeah, I'm going to have my client appointments now. Hi guys, I imagine you probably can't see me at the moment, so I do apologise for that. I'm just multitasking, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to string a coherent thought together. We will find out in a minute. I've just had my my first client of the day, so I am going to do the clinical notes in a moment. What I'm doing at the moment though is I was just adding some numbers onto a clinical data audit record just whilst they'd been emailed across to me, and yeah, I had a mind blank then, but yeah, basically one appointment done, and then I have another one, and then admin tasks really for the rest of the day. Gotta have the cozy vibes whilst I'm working from home. Okay, so I've just completed my clinical contact notes for that client. So what I'm going to do now, because I do actually have a little bit of time before my next client, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that we use in the service called assessment supervisions. We find that this is really helpful to do because firstly it means that all clinical notes are up to standard, and it also means that the client is being offered the appropriate treatment option first time around. Basically, if you don't know what an assessment is that a PWP does, it's basically where they have an appointment with the client's just referred into the service, and it's basically like an information gathering appointment so that you can determine what the most appropriate treatment option is for that client, and then from that point forward they might go on to their next stage of treatment. So it might be that they go for some CBT, or they might go for some counselling, or they might go for some EMDR. You know, from that assessment it helps to determine what would be the most appropriate treatment option for the client. So what we do as seniors is we go through all the notes for each assessment, we review it, we make sure it's all up to standard and make sure it's of a good quality, and we just make sure that the treatment that has been offered is the most appropriate one. I really enjoy doing it because I can just kind of crack on with it really. I can just make myself a nice cup of tea and just get my head down and smash through it. It's actually one of my favourite parts of the job as well. I really enjoy doing it. So I'm going to crack on with that for about half an hour and then I've got my next client. Okay, I just popped downstairs to make myself a nice cup of tea and now I'm going to crack on with preparing my clinical notes for my next appointment. Okay, so I have finished my supervision from this morning and my clinical contacts for the morning as well. It's now 12 o'clock, so I'm going to go and have a very quick lunch break. I've also just had a very spontaneous impromptu meeting put in by the clinical lead. So when that happens, that sends me into a bit of a panic because it normally means that I've done something wrong or there is like a process or a policy that needs correcting or something like that. So we shall see. I'm trying not to panic. I'm just going to try and enjoy my lunch break, read my book for a bit, and then we shall see what happens. I've got the meeting at 1 o'clock, so I've literally got about an hour. So I'll keep you updated as to whether or not I'm about to lose my job. I'm joking, bro. It's not going to be that bad, but yeah, just when I don't know what the reason for a meeting is, I do just get a little bit worried. So I'm probably panicking over nothing. So for my lunch, I have a little bit of a random assortment of things. I've got some leftovers from last night's tea, which was like a, what was it? It was like some kind of pork, soy sauce, veg, rice kind of concoction. It was really, really nice. And then I've also got a sausage roll and some crisps to pad it out with it because that's quite a small portion. So that's going to be my lunch for today. Okay, I don't really know if you can see me because I've actually placed you on my toilet. This is the most unorganised video ever, probably, so I do apologise for that. Right, so I've got my meeting with my clinical lead next up. I've just had my lunch. Then once I've done that, I'm going to do some data audits. So what I do for data auditing, so I basically pull all the reports from our patient system and I have a look through it, and there's a few things that I'm looking for. So it's mainly if there's kind of any task that hasn't been done that's important for the patient's file, if there's any errors, any missing information. Say for example, if there's some incomplete clinical notes, that's one that I have to look for. If a patient doesn't have an appointment booked in, if it's been about like 3 weeks or so since their last appointment and they're still waiting on the system for something, then I can follow that up. So what I do is I basically pull all of this data, and then if there's something that needs following up or something that needs correcting or checking, I can then contact the person who's responsible for it. So it might be the treating therapist, it might be a different service that we're waiting on an outcome for, it could be anything really. So that's what I do. So I always schedule at least an hour a week to get that done because it is a really important part in making sure everything's correct on the system. And so that's what I'm going to do after my meeting, depending on how stressed I am afterwards. So my meeting has been and gone. It was okay, other than the fact that my workload has just like tripled in size. But it's fine. They did say it would be like a temporary measure. So I'm probably just going to be a bit stressed for a few weeks really. And that's how it is. It's all gravy in the navy, isn't it? Anyway, I'm now going to do those data audits that I mentioned before. I'm now in the comforts of my living room because I have no more meetings for the day. And I thought I would just chill in here with a blanket. There is currently snow outside. So I'm just going to chill with hot drinks and blankets and get on with the rest of my day. Guys, I feel like I haven't updated you for a while because for me it's been a few hours, but for you it's probably been a few seconds. I finished my pathway audit and then I was just following up some clients that in which there was like an action plan agreed after supervision with a PWP that I supervise obviously, and yeah, I was just following up the kind of steps on that and just seeing what had been actioned, what hadn't, what still needs to be actioned, that kind of thing, just so that I could update a service that was waiting on the outcome from our service, if that makes sense. So that's what I've been doing really. It's just kind of like email stuff, liaising with people, following things up. I don't have long left of my shift now really. I've got quite a meeting heavy day tomorrow, so I'm thinking of preparing some kind of like notes or pointers for tomorrow just to ease things, because sometimes if I've got like back-to-back meetings, I get like a bit overwhelmed, I suppose. Like there's quite just quite a lot to process. So I feel like if I can help myself in any way, then I will, and I have some spare time today to do that. So that's what I'm going to do now. I just wanted to show you the view from the hallway because it's so bright in here, like the sun's coming through as it's setting and it just looks lovely. So I thought I would show that because that's just, yeah, it's just pretty, isn't it? Hot chocolate time! Now I've just stopped to have a hot chocolate break. I've just made a marzipan hot chocolate by Whittard, which is an absolutely delicious one. Not sure if you can see my little bunny down there. So we're having some snuggles, aren't we, honey bun? So I think I am probably gonna wrap the video up there because I finished like all the admin tasks that I needed to get done today. I had my supervision this morning, I've had my clients for the day, I've had a meeting with the clinical lead, and now I've done my data audits and follow-up tasks and some little prep bits for tomorrow as well. So that is the general rundown, I suppose, of what I do as a senior. So some days will be much more meeting heavy, other days might just be very much so like supervision. I never really have full days of clinical contact anymore, which is good. And that is actually something that I prefer as a senior, is that I don't have to spend a whole day doing clinical contact if I don't want to, whereas as a PWP you kind of have to, unfortunately. So I do appreciate that flexibility, that there is a little bit more variation to the role. I hope that you found this video helpful, just for a quick rundown and kind of like a very general idea of what a senior PWP does. So if you were considering you know, looking for an opportunity like that in the future, then hopefully this has given you a little bit of help. So that you know kind of what to expect, and you would know whether or not the role would be a nice fit for you really, and some of the duties that I am responsible for. So I am going to have a bath, I think, when I clock off work, and enjoy the rest of my evening really. And like I said, not every senior works from home full time. I am very, very lucky and very, very fortunate, and I did also apply for services that were specifically advertised as work from home only, because I know that that would work best for me. So working from home just fits better with my lifestyle. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video there, and I really do hope that you've enjoyed it. I don't know what I've really filmed. I think that, you know, work is boring. Okay, my job in particular, it can be very boring. There's not a whole lot that I can film because a lot of it's confidential as well, so I kind of just have to tell you what I'm doing rather than actually show you. But I hope that you've enjoyed it nonetheless. If you want to see a video on how to become a senior PWP, then I'm more than happy to film that, because I did do one for how to become a trainee PWP and that's done okay. So I think if there's the demand for it, hi hon, then I might do a senior one. Sorry, my rabbit's demanding my attention, so I better wrap this up. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more from me, then you can subscribe. It's free and it lets you know every time I upload a video. Oh, someone's popular. Oh my goodness, that's so nice. And make sure to leave a comment below if you have any video request ideas, or if you've got any feedback on this video as well. Sorry for the weird angle. I'm having to stroke my bunny who's behind me right now, because if I don't stroke him he keeps scratching at my back because he wants attention. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time, or rather you'll see me, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye for now.